Hey everybody, it's Suzanne A. Wells, and thanks for coming back for another video. I have a very special guest today who is going to help answer some of your tax questions. And if you guys like this format and want to hear more, we will have her back to cover some other topics. So let me introduce LaShondra, and your last name is?
Everett.
Everett. Okay, and she's in Boston.
Yep,
And but from Georgia, so we have that great connection going on. So thanks for joining us. And let me tell you how I found her, because I was going to do this video about how eBay selling affects Social Security, because that is just asked every single day. I know I've got a lot of baby boomers, retirees, and pre-retirees watching this channel wanting to learn eBay, and that is a big concern. So I started doing my research, came across her videos, was starting to make a video from her information, and I said, no, we just need to have her on to answer these questions.
That's awesome.
Thanks for joining us. Okay, so I have my list of questions here so we don't forget anything. Okay. Tell us a little bit about how you got into the tax prep world and what got you here.
Okay, so I come from a home business background. I got started in network marketing because I'm an Army wife and I got tired of looking for jobs. And so I was looking for alternate ways to make money. I got into network marketing and I had my tax professional. He's like, oh my gosh, he's like, you don't know what you're doing. I'm like, okay, but you're not telling me what I'm not doing. So it's something that piqued my interest then. And then a couple of years ago, I was at the Girl Scout meeting. This is how things happen. And I got connected with the tax class, and that was it for me, because I knew that a lot of home business owners were getting in tax trouble. And so that became it for me.
Okay, and you've done e-commerce also, which was very attractive because I thought she gets it. She understands what these people are dealing with.
Absolutely. I've sold on eBay. I've done Amazon FBA as well. So yes, I totally understand where you're coming from.
Okay, so she's got the tax knowledge as well as the home business knowledge, the e-commerce knowledge, and she knows it all. Okay, great. So the big question for a lot of my viewers is, how much can I make on eBay before it affects my Social Security?
Okay, so I'm going to answer this in two parts, because there's the single people and then there's the married people. Okay, so if you're single, then if you make less than $25,000, then your benefits are not taxable. Between $25,000 and $34,000, we're talking about in profit. Okay, then it's 50% of your Social Security is taxable. Over $34,000 for the single person makes your Social Security 85% taxable. Now, for married individuals, then you're married filing joint. Okay. Anything less than $32,000, your Social Security is not taxable. Between $32,000 and $44,000, then it's 50% taxable, and anything over $44,000 is 85. Your Social Security is 85% taxable.
Okay, so what is this number that $16,000 is floating around out there?
I really don't know what the $16,000 number is, but understanding too is that it's not just your eBay money; it's investments and all of that. So it's not just one specific area where your money can come from. It could be money from a retirement account or something like that. So it really is all encompassing.
So there's no answer to this question without someone looking at your entire financial situation and saying, here's what you can do. Because one person, may have a bunch of investments and be getting income from that and have Navy retirement or whatever they have. And it's going to be different for somebody else that doesn't have any of that.
That's correct. So there's not one hard and fast rule to say you can earn this much from, specifically from your eBay sales. It really is a big picture thing where all of your income is coming from.
Okay, that's a great answer. So assuming that this seller figures out what they can make, what happens if they go over that number? What's going to happen to them?
Well, the max is 85% taxable for your Social Security. So people get various Social Security amounts. So you look at that and say, okay, what's 85% of this number? And then that's the amount that can be taxable. And then depending on how much you make is the different income tax rate. So you can't say, well, you're going to be at the 12% tax rate versus, a 22% tax rate or anything like that. It's, the more money that you make on the income side, the more income tax you pay. So again, it's just, there's not one magic answer.
So I talk to a lot of people on the phone that are either retired, pre-retirement, they're going through all this, getting their Social Security set up, which is quite a process anyway. And they are really terrified that if they do anything on the side, they're just going to lose their Social Security. And so one thing I saw in your videos that really made me want to talk to you was you said, don't focus on giving up the good because you can get the great if you think through this.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And here's why. Because when you look at these numbers, okay, when you look at $44,000 a year for two people to live on, okay, we're talking max numbers here, $34,000 for one person to live on, that's not a lot of money. Okay, period. That is just not a lot of money. And especially if you live in these New England streets, okay, this is nothing. Okay. So that's why I say, instead of shrinking your life to try to fit in the confines of $44,000 for two people, let's expand the thinking, because I would much rather grow my money and give up a certain percentage and have more money to live off of than trying to shrink my life and trying to fit inside this money. And I'll give you a prime example. I had an older gentleman who's in nursing care. He's in a nursing home right now. He's 90 years old and his daughter is trying to help take care of him. Do you think $44,000 is going to help take care of you in a nursing home? That is a no.
That's like $3,000 a week, or, they're very expensive.
It is very expensive. And especially with the change in the tax code where a lot of that stuff is not tax deductible anymore. So, so this is why I'm saying let's not try to shrink ourselves down into these numbers. Let's look at growing the wealth so that if you do have to go live in a nursing home in your older years, that you have money coming in to pay for that.
And you nailed it right there, because I see that all the time. This age group of people, the baby boomers, the early Gen Xers, that are terrified to do anything because they're going to be punished and their money's going to be taken away from them. And it's just a poverty mindset, you called it, which is, I absolutely agree, because this age group has all the stuff. They're the ones that don't have to really go buy anything. Their homes are full of this stuff. They have the computer skills. And if they're retired or semi-retired, they have the time to do it. So if you're letting this fear of losing Social Security get in your way, you are missing huge opportunities to build a fun, profitable, interesting home business that could sustain you for years, because your thinking is, okay, well, if I make, $2,000 a month on eBay profit, that's going to be $24,000 a year. That's going to cut into my Social Security and take some of that away. But you're not looking at the bottom line of what you're actually walking away with. And that's what this interview is about, is to help you guys understand that you have to think further than you're going to be punished if you get a part-time job or have a home business, because you have to look at all the numbers.
Right. It's that fear of loss that people operate in, that fear of loss. But we need to look at the vision of gain, of really, what can I do? Just blow this thing up. Okay. So if I blow this thing up and I'm making, $5,000 a month, okay, cool. I can set aside X amount for taxes and I can still go get my life. Right.
Exactly.
You can still live. You've got to eat. That's what we're talking about. You got to eat. I mean, we're not even talking about going and living some lavish lifestyle, but we're just talking about being able to sustain yourself Okay.
Well, and then some people are in a position where they want to travel. They want to be able to put their business on hold to handle life's emergencies, which always happen. No matter how prepared you are, things happen and throw a wrench into everything. So I hate to see people saying, "Oh, I can't do it because it's going to cut into my Social Security." Because a lot of people ask me, is it worth it to have an eBay business if I am so limited by what I can earn? But you can't look at it that way. You can't say I'm going to be limited, because you know what? eBay is unlimited.
Yeah.
The only limitation is time. How much can you do in a day? There is no shortage of stuff to sell. There are no barriers to entry. Anybody can do it. And a lot of these people have all the stuff already. So I think it's just a mindset out there that people look at Social Security as like this ball and chain that is keeping them from living freely and doing what they want and making money, because they might be punished.
Right. And you know what? And to me, that's the cost of doing business, because that is a limitation that you set on. You might be limited in what you can earn, so your Social Security won't be taxable.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as your income, there is no limitation on that. Is what she said, what you can do. So again, it's getting out of that fear of loss and looking at the opportunity.
And this is one of those things, you guys, where you are getting in your own way if you have this mindset. Because, okay, so let's say you make $3,000 a month and you're getting your Social Security, and so you're gonna have to pay a little bit of taxes on that. You're still gonna come out ahead if you work it correctly.
That's correct.
Okay, great. And you also said on your videos, LaShondra, that wealthy people don't worry about taxes on their Social Security. They plan for it. So
That's correct.
Talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so you know what? Wealthy people get Social Security too. Like, people don't believe that, but they do. And so they have taxes taken out of their Social Security. Now, I know somebody might be having a stroke about that right now, but here's the deal. If you're going to really plan for growth and plan for wealth, wealthy people pay taxes differently, but they pay taxes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody likes to pay taxes. If we can just all agree that nobody likes to pay taxes, but you know what? That's not stopping them from living. So they're having taxes taken out of their Social Security. They set aside money for taxes, and which I preach this all the time. Set aside your money for taxes, put it in an interest-bearing account, so that when it's time at tax time, if you do have a tax bill, you can write a check and keep it moving. This is how wealthy people think. And I mean, they even go so far as this, can you just debit it from my account? Like, I don't even want to write the check.
That's why they all have tax professionals. I mean, come on, Oprah has people who work on this for her. Richard Branson, he pays taxes on his stuff. And, all these people who are, billionaires, and if they're over 65, they're getting Social Security. Warren Buffett, people like that don't worry about, I better not do that investment because I might have to pay taxes. They just get their tax person to help them figure out what's the best thing for me to do. How much do I need to give to charity or whatever to offset that? Down here in Georgia, people who are getting in that situation, they're like, they go buy goats. They put goats in their yard, so they have a livestock deduction. If they're allowed to do it, I don't think it extends to like the backyard chickens, but I live in a county north of Atlanta where the northern half is very rural and there's a lot of farms. And so that's what people are doing, is like, I'm going to get some goats. That'll help me with my taxes.
Yes, and they provide dinner. So
yeah, and they keep the grass eaten, so you don't have to cut the grass. That's the main thing. They eat everything else too, but then these senior citizens are like, I don't have to cut the grass. Goats do it.
The main thing is this, and what Suzanne is saying is correct, is you really want to think like a business owner. If you really want to grow your business, then you have to think like a business owner. Your job as a business owner is to go make your business money. You hire people like me to sit there and say, okay, this is what we need to be doing here, for taxes for next year, ways that, like she said, we can defer taxes, tax avoidance, that is legal. Tax evasion, that's illegal. Okay, so tax avoidance is when you put your money in places that you delay taxes, defer taxes, or whatever, and then you lower your tax bill now and see what happens later. you know? So yeah, it's not your job as a business owner to know tax law. You spend so much time trying to avoid paying taxes where you could be spending that time growing your business and hiring somebody like me that says, okay, here's what we can do with this money. So
and the successful people in the world don't focus on stuff that they're not good at. I mean, do you think Oprah sits down and works on her taxes? No. I mean, what about, the guys who invented Netflix? Do you think they're going to sit there and work on their taxes? No, they hire people so they can do what they're good at and make the most money they can with the time they have, and hire out what takes specific knowledge, which this does. Tax stuff changes all the time, which we're going to get into that in a minute. But I've always believed that if you just focus on what you're good at and what you love, the money will come. And that's just, we can learn all these other skills and you can learn it, but is that really what you want to do with your time? Exactly. And if you don't like something, chances are you're not going to be good at it. You're just not. So, yeah. Okay. So another question we get, and this is especially for the baby boomers who have so much stuff, because I get these calls every week, oh, my house is just full of thousands of things. And for those of you that are either in the process of downsizing or thinking about it, give it 6 to 18 months to sell off your stuff on eBay. Just the stuff that you don't want, use, or need that's just piled up and accumulated, because that is how long it's going to take. But their question is, what if I'm selling things I already have that I did not intentionally buy for resale? How does that affect their taxes?
Okay, so you still have a cost of goods sold, okay? So let's say, got my handy dandy stapler here, okay? That's the first thing that's in reach, okay? So when I bought said stapler, I paid $5.99 for it, okay? Well, if I go and sell it, 2 years later, it might be worth $2.99. Okay, be honest about what it's worth, but you deduct that cost of goods sold from your profit. That's it.
So if they have an attic full of stuff from the 1970s and they're working through selling it, they're not really going to know how that's going to affect their taxes until they sell it and then back out the cost of goods sold or whatever they estimated it's.
Right, because it's based on your profit.
Okay. So that's another answer that's basically, if I'm just selling things I already have, it's just going to depend how it shakes out on your taxes.
Yeah.
And you should be reporting it.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like a garage sale. Okay, if you have one garage sale and just sell some things, that's kind of different than if you are doing this as a constant stream of income and you're doing it month after month, year after year. That's a little different.
That's correct. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Now, another one I get is, what if I'm selling items I have inherited from a deceased family member, an entire storage unit, a household full of stuff, their record collection? Mm-hmm. How does that work?
Okay, so it's still what's called basis. Basis is what you paid for it, or what's the fair market value. So it really is the same thing. So if you inherit an heirloom brooch from grandma and it's worth, $2,000 and you sell it for $5,000, well, then it's worth, you have a $3,000 profit.
Okay. So what if they just don't know? What if they're like, I have no idea. I've been selling my old time magazines and my Tupperware and my old handbags. I don't know what the fair, I don't know.
You make your best guess. Okay. And so the thing to keep in mind here is that you really have to track this stuff. Okay. So if you have a spreadsheet or something that says, look at
the link below, you guys, if you don't have the spreadsheet.
Yeah. So if you got grandma's brooch, okay, fair market value, you're estimating, like I said, about $2,000, you sell it for $5,000. If you've got that kind of record, then the IRS is going to believe you. Okay. Mm-hmm. But if you're trying to say, okay, she paid, whatever for it, and, it depreciates over time. Mm-hmm. Okay. There are some things that appreciate, like art, for instance. Mm-hmm. And then there are things that depreciate, like a stapler. So you make your best guess. And if you track these things, then you have a better leg to stand on in the event that you are audited to say, okay, here are my records. And this, what I estimate for each. If you want to go and check all that, there's nothing you can do about it. But you just,
the argument I hear is, well, I got it free, so it's all profit.
Fair market value.
So there is no cost of goods because I got it free.
Well, but then there's the fair market value, okay? And so when you inherit something from somebody else, you also inherit the fair market value.
Okay.
Of that item. So like stocks, for instance. So if grandma gives you stocks, when grandma passed away and you've inherited stocks, you inherit that fair market value at the time that you get it.
Okay, that's what we need to know. Okay. Yeah, because the baby boomers are, they're inheriting their parents' stuff, and a lot of this is selling off that because they can make money on that and they enjoy doing it. So that's a huge part of this. Okay, now we're going to get into the big PayPal question.
Okay.
Those of you that are new to eBay or thinking about doing it and watching this video because you have this question about Social Security, eBay doesn't send you any kind of tax record, for financial reasons. PayPal does, because all the money goes through PayPal. And the rule is if you sell 200 items and have 20,000 in deposits through your PayPal account, you will get a 1099. So for example, if you sell a car and you do it through PayPal, and that's the only transaction you have in a year, that's one transaction for what? $10,000. You're not going to get a 1099. Okay. So you have to meet both of those criteria. But the question is, what if I don't get a 1099? Do I still have to report my eBay sales, and how does that work?
Okay. So the 1099K, which is what we're talking about here, that's what PayPal issues. Your stats are correct, except in Massachusetts and Vermont.
Right. That changed.
That they changed that for 2017, and I didn't even.
Why you need a tax professional, because they know when things changes. We don't.
But here's the thing, that's one of the things that slid under the radar.
Right. I didn't get a little email, but people were like, yeah, whatever.
I didn't even know until I got one. I was like, wait a minute. Why? I was like,
because you're in Massachusetts, one of those states. Okay.
Right. So that was one of those things that really slid under the radar, that a lot of people didn't know. I mean, I even had clients here who after the fact, they're like, what is this? But yes, you report all income, period. Okay. Even if PayPal doesn't send their 1099K, whether it's PayPal, Stripe, whatever, you are required to report all income. Anything over $400 profit, you are liable for self-employment tax. So you report all of your income regardless of whether or not you get the 1099K. Now, you also get to deduct all the expenses. So that's the other side of the story.
That's right. That's the good part.
So you deduct your PayPal fees, you deduct your eBay insertion fees, and all those fees are tax deductible against that income. Great.
So, okay, the next question is, well, what if I don't? Just let them catch me. I'm not going to report it if I didn't get a form in the mail.
Yeah, that would be tax evasion, and that's when you can go to jail. Okay. A lot of people are concerned, like, oh my gosh, I have this tax bill I can't pay, so I'm going to go to jail. And that just simply isn't true. So this is why it's so important to file your taxes, even if you can't pay the tax liability, because as long as you file your taxes, the IRS is going to work with you. They want their money. They don't want to put you in jail.
Oh yeah, they have payment plans and they have ways. They want your money. They don't want to put you in jail because, number one, that costs money.
Exactly.
The federal government to have you in there, and you can't work when you're in there and make the money to pay them back. So they don't want you in jail. They want your money.
They really don't want to send you to jail. But when you blatantly do not report income, or you just blatantly don't file when you have a filing requirement, then that's when you go to jail. So you want to report all of your income. please don't try to hide it. One of the things that you mentioned, Suzanne, when we were talking is that, people switching PayPal accounts. Okay. And so let me tell you, that is called structuring. And that is illegal. It is just like with the banks, they have to report when there's a cash transaction for $10,000 or more, they have to have a banking reporting act, okay, to abide by. This is the same thing. So if you are found to be structuring, I think the little boy from Jersey Shore just went to jail for this. If you are, blatantly just like, okay, well, I don't want to, have them report that, so I'm going to go start another PayPal account or go to this PayPal account. That is called structuring, and it's illegal. And if you found out, yes, you will be prosecuted.
Okay, so there you guys have it. So keep good records. That's very important because, like she said, this is a coin with two sides. Yes, you have to report your income, but when you do that, you also can deduct your home business expenses, which is that part of the freebie that you're giving them?
Yes, the Home Bix Success Guide, it really talks about it. It's really how to manage your business.
Okay.
Like how to prepare. So
okay, so if you look below the video, there's a link to her Home Business Success Guide, which has a lot of great information. If you're just getting into this, or even if you think you know everything, it's always good to read because things change. But the deductions are what help bring your income down, which is what you want from a tax perspective. Now, you don't want that if you're trying to get a loan, because then it looks like you don't make any money. So, it's two sides to it.
Planning is so key. And what you're saying there is absolutely right. Planning is so key when it comes down to that.
So you can deduct things like part of your cell phone expense because you're out there in the stores looking things up. Mileage driving to the thrift stores and estate sales, mileage driving to the post office, all of your supplies, your printer ink for printing labels, your mannequin, any of your supplies for washing your clothes and ironing your clothes and all that stuff that you're selling, your cleaning supplies, anything that's related to your business, part of your internet expense because you're using that to do your business. If you buy a new computer or a tablet or anything like that, you can deduct that, which that's going to bring your income down, which then means you pay fewer taxes, which is the goal in this tax game, is to pay as little as possible legally.
Legally, yes.
Okay, great. So we've touched on record keeping, and I do have a spreadsheet that I offer, but what, as a tax professional, what do you recommend for eBay sellers as far as what they need for their tax preparer?
Okay, great.
You don't like a big old box of receipts.
No, we don't want that. No, we do not. If we get that, that's going to be a big invoice coming to you. Right. But really, we just need the final numbers. We need the income, if, whatever expenses you incur, whether, for, like she said, for your home office, for your ink and all of that stuff, your mileage, we need the total mileage. Now listen, for this mileage, you guys, you got to have a mileage log that says, where you went, what for, the mileage, the date, and all of that. You need to have that available, not for your tax professional, but for you, because in the event that you are audited, you're going to have to produce that information.
You back it up. You have you got to be able to back up what you're saying.
Back it up. And if you can't, then the IRS says, we'd like our money back, please, and thank you. And like right now.
So like for receipts, like when they go to thrift stores, do they really need the receipt, or is that debit from their checking account or credit card? You
need the receipt.
Okay.
You must have the receipt. And the reason is that, when you just have a debit on your card, whether it's your credit card or debit card, it really doesn't give you any information about what you purchased. So you can go buy anything and like, yeah, that's business. No, the IRS wants to see what was on that receipt.
Mm-hmm. So they want to see all those, 50 things with the discounts and women's clothing and pottery and home goods, and they want to see, and then you have an envelope full of these. They're going to be like, yeah, she's really buying this for resale because here's months.
And so you can have apps that, capture the receipts. It can be a digital copy of the receipt. It doesn't have to be paper anymore. So if you have areas, some stores email receipts now, like Staples. I was just there yesterday.
Well, and
And
estate sales do that too. They'll check you out on an iPad, and then they'll
yeah.
email the receipt to you. So that's
So
great.
even having that is perfectly fine, but it's something that details what was purchased so that you can, you can make those notes on there. Like I would go, books were my thing. So I would go and buy 20 books. Okay. Well, I would have the receipt with 20 books and I got a picture of my 20 books in my box so that,
Oh, there you go.
oh yeah, be extra and take pictures.
Okay, yeah, yeah, that's great. Great advice. So, the record keeping is very important. Not only so you'll know if you're profitable. That's really the first reason, is so you can see if you're profitable. Because I'm willing to bet businesses fail because they aren't profitable or they don't know if they're profitable.
And a lot of times that is the one thing. Like if I could change for a lot of my home business owners, it's when I ask you how much money did you make, and the answer is I don't know. And so if you don't know how much money you're making and where it's coming from, you really have no clue if you're running a profitable business or not, or what items are profitable in your business.
And the items, you've got to know the items, which is why on the spreadsheet I offer, it's an item by item. It's not, now it's okay. Maybe it's a little different if you buy a storage unit with 1,000 things in it and you can't really assign a price to each thing. That might be a little bit more tricky. I'm sure there's a resolution for that, but so, and you got to look at the profit. You guys can't just look at, oh yeah, my sales are this, because I ask this on my Facebook group all the time when people show these huge piles of things they're shipping, which is fantastic that you're selling so much, or, screenshots of their sales, which we don't even allow anymore because we're not getting the whole story. Yeah, you could have $5,000 on your sales for that month, but if you did free shipping and if you, if you came in at a loss, that 5,000 in sales means nothing.
Absolutely.
And so I'm really careful about what I allow.
Oh gosh.
I'm really careful about what I allow because people look at that and they go like, oh, wow, I really suck at eBay. Look at all these people doing. But you don't know the financial piece of it. You don't know what they paid for that stuff. This could have been a shopaholic who went to Macy's over many years and bought all this stuff at full price, and then she's selling it on eBay for a third of what she paid and showing you this sales of $8,000. That is not a business.
Right.
You need to know your profit because you cannot pay your bills with your sales. You pay it with your profit.
You better preach.
Well, I know because when I started eBay, I had gone through a divorce and lost my job, and I'd been downsized out for like the third time. And I said, no, never again. I'm going to figure out something to do on my own. And I tried cleaning houses, and I'm not good at that. I didn't like it. I had a friend with a business who was like, come help me clean houses. I'm like, okay. I wasn't good at it. So I tried a lot of things, and then I got to eBay, but throughout this whole time, I'm keeping track of every penny I'm spending because I got to know, do I have enough to pay the mortgage? Do I have enough to keep the power on? And, it was a struggle. I was protecting my credit. I didn't want to lose my house. So I kept track of every penny. And profit is what pays your bills. It's what's left over after everything else, not your sales. So it's very important that you guys know this, and it takes a little time to enter that stuff into the spreadsheet and look at it, but that is part of being a business owner. You've got
that when you can, if we got baby boomers, if y'all got grandkids, put them jokers to work when they come to your house. They can
That's right. Okay, so lots of good apps out there for keeping track of your mileage and your receipts. I think Dropbox has a feature where you can take pictures of your receipts, and you don't have to scan stuff anymore. They came out with those scanners years ago, and people are scanning their receipts. Now you just take a picture of it with your phone. That's really easy. Okay, so next question is, what if eBayers buy things at garage sales or other places and they don't get a receipt? How do they keep records of that that is acceptable to the IRS?
Make a note, okay? So you think about everything that is on the receipt. You have the date, the place, Like, so, and if you're going garage sailing, this is going to be on your mileage, right?
Mhm.
So you're writing down the address, what you got, what you paid for it.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
what
that's
you're,
acceptable. I
yeah,
mean, there's no other way to do it. If you don't have a receipt, you don't have a receipt. I mean,
right.
that
So
doesn't mean
right,
don't
you
go
can,
to garage sales because they don't give you a receipt. It just means
yeah,
keep track
get
of
a
it.
notebook, you can get
Okay.
a little notebook like this, right? If
Mhm.
that's the kind, because I'm a writer downer,
Me
okay?
too. I'm a notebook person.
I'm a writer downer, so
I'm an
get
index
you a
card and
notebook.
notebook person.
I got lots of them. I stack up on back to school time. So, but get something like this and keep track of the dates and, where you're going for these garage sales, because you're going to be able to recreate your mileage that way, and just put down write down what you got,
Mhm.
35 books for, $10, leather coat for $5, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And just, that's enough.
Right. Okay, great. I'm keeping track of our time here because Lysandra is very busy today and we don't want to take up too much of her time. So let's talk a little bit about tax preparers and how you can help my audience, because this is the part I'm really excited about, because you guys, she's the person to help you if you don't have a tax preparer. Because first of all, you work virtually.
Yes.
You
Yes,
don't
I
have
do.
to go to her office and bring your stuff. It's all virtual.
Oh gosh, yeah. Because again, I'm an Army wife, so I had to find something that I could bill virtually. So I've built my entire tax business online. So
Mhm.
yeah, I tell people I'm the stalker tax chick, because if I know you're online, then I'm looking at your marketing. So if you're telling me you're not making money, I'm like, honey, I checked out your YouTube channel. This is
Yeah,
what.
that's what she said to me. She's like, yeah, I checked you out before I was going to talk to you. Because I'm like, I'm legit. I have this channel. I have these people. They need you.
And
Please.
I'm sitting here going like, oh my gosh, little old me, right? But yeah, I'm completely virtual. So I have a secure portal for you to upload your documents. And so, you can send me your stuff at midnight if you want to, and I'll look at it at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning when I get up, because that's when
Is
I'm
it,
really smart.
as far as technology, is it like difficult to figure out how to upload your documents, or is
No,
it
not at
pretty?
all.
Okay,
No, it's
so
clicks,
that's what people worry about a lot with different things I offer, like the virtual assistant. They're like, I don't know how to do Dropbox or whatever. It's like, it's all learnable.
yeah, it really is all. I have people that's like, look, can I just take a picture? Like, okay, yeah, just if we got to get down to you
Yeah,
taking pictures,
just text me
I
a
got,
picture.
yeah, then I
Okay.
got you. But yeah, so so I have a secure portal that you can upload your documents. I prepare your taxes and send them back to you, and we review your taxes. I
Mhm.
don't just, I'm not a number cruncher kind of girl. I'll make sure that what's happening in your taxes, because see, when you sign your taxes, you sign under penalty of perjury that everything is true and correct. And if you don't know what's in there, I'm not going down. You're going down
Right. Well,
because you signed it.
and you, what I like about you is you do everything correctly. So I'm a little bit different than some of these other eBay YouTubers, because I'm all about the right way to do things, just because you should do it the right way. And so as far as taxes, you want to do that the right way. And we don't all know how to do that. You may have to hire somebody if you don't know. So, um,
Yeah, I don't get down with street committee tax advice. I had to do a video about that today, because everybody wants to be a Facebook lawyer, Facebook tax professional, miss me with that.
and this is a rule I have on my Facebook group, is we don't touch tax questions, which is why I don't really do videos about them by myself, because I don't know. And when you have somebody who's like, yeah, I used to be a CPA, but that was 5 years ago. Oh, everything's different now. I mean, something could have happened last week that they don't know. And when they start giving out street corner advice, on these YouTube groups that can affect
It can
you
get you in trouble.
negatively.
It's
Yeah.
usually enough to get you into trouble with the IRS, and that's the last place you want to be.
And really, tax preparation is not that expensive. Now, I do mine monthly, because of my type of business, and I like to, because I don't like these huge tax bills. I don't want them to say, okay, you owe 15,000, and I'm like, so I got to take out a loan to get that. I'd rather pay it every month and just stay on top of it. You don't have to do that. You can do it quarterly. You can do it annually. So let's talk just real quick about what does it cost to have you work on their taxes?
Okay.
How much is that going to
So,
cost them?
yeah. So there's different things that are involved. Okay. But generally for my Schedule C folks, it's generally around $400. I say generally because, I have some people that have stock options that are 6 miles long, right?
Right. It
And
just
they
depends on what you have.
it really just depends on what you have. And so what happens is that we have a consult. I look at what you have and I'm going to tell you what it's going to cost, and that's what it's going to cost. I'm not the, you got a surprise coming at the end kind of girl.
Right.
I do have people that start out with, I'm going to just send you everything that you need. And then life happens, and like, oh my gosh, can you please help me? I need somebody to go through my bank statements and find this or that and the other. Like, okay, if I got to do that, it's going to cost you that.
Yeah. So the bottom line is, we just have like a minute left before I got to let you go. Is it just depends on your situation, but you offer a complimentary phone call,
Right.
consultation. So the link to that is below. That's like 15 minutes where you can just quickly, look at their situation.
Right.
And then she's going to offer you 20% off your tax preparation if you say Suzanne sent me. So you gotta tell her I sent you to get that discount.
Yes.
But she's also provided us with that free download with some home business tax tips. I encourage you to grab that. Even if you think you already know everything, or even if you are scared to death of this, you got to be informed. You got to be informed and stay out of trouble. So all those links are below the video. And if you guys enjoyed this as much as you can enjoy talking about taxes, and we have so many other topics we can talk about, please leave a comment and let us know what else we can do together like this to help educate and inform eBay sellers, because this is a big topic. Lysandra is educated and she can help us all get through it.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. So thanks so much for joining us, and we're going to have you back.
All right. I can't wait.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.